How's it going, guys? Tan the Fireman here, back with some more Palworld content. Today I wanted to talk about what the potential meta for PvP gameplay is going to be looking like. This is going to be an aspect of a survival game that I don't think anyone has ever seen or ready for. Because we already know that this game has a lot in common with something like Pokemon. However, the fighting style is vastly different. It's not turn-based just as Pokemon is. Rather, you're actually involved in the fight using your own gear and weapons in order to fight alongside your pals. So clearly, I think that's going to impact how PvP fights are going to take place. And I'm super excited to figure out the different kinds of strategies and tactics people can use within fights. And I wanted to share some ideas that I had that maybe you guys can implement when it officially releases. So let's first talk about what the pals can bring to the fight. Now, obviously, damage output is the most important tangible when it comes to battles. However, one thing that I think would be very important are status effects. For all my Pokemon enjoyers out there, I'm sure y'all are well aware of what status effects are. We're talking poison, or confusion, paralysis, or making your opponent fall asleep. I hope that they add more status effects to this game. Maybe not necessarily the exact same as Pokemon. Maybe they do their own little twist on it, which I think they've done a fantastic job creating their twists on most things that they've added to this game. But as far as I'm aware, the two biggest ones that I see are a stun that electric types cause and burning of the pals. Those are the two biggest ones that I see, and because of that, I think that those two are going to be prioritized a lot, or at least I'm certainly going to experiment with them a lot. And you might be asking yourself, Tanner, it's only like a 1.5 second stun, if that. I mean, guys, a 1.5 second stun in a PvP fight is a very, very long time. A lot can happen, and then you could pre-cook a grenade or get your rocket launcher ready, or maybe switch out pals for something that's more effective against what you're going against. Sure, ground types are effective against electrics, but a stun can occur against any opponent. Sure, the chances of it happening against something like a ground type or a grass type is less, but it's still possible. I'll actually post on the screen here a lot of the electric types that I think would be effective. Obviously, Orsurk would be probably the most prioritized electric type in PvP fights, because not only does he display the strongest electric type attack, he's also a dragon type as well. However, I say that Relaxaurus Lux would also be a very strong option, not only because he is a very powerful electric type, but you could also ride him, so you get the rideable reset ability mechanic, allowing you to use all of his abilities once while riding him, and then it just automatically resets once you get off his mount. You guys probably already know that, or if not, you learned something new. Very, very strong option. And honestly, Relaxaurus Lux is one of my favorite pals anyway, so I might just be using him over Orsurk. We'll see. And you know, one thing that I did not think about this before I hit the record button is Beacon's mechanic. So I'll read it aloud. Can be ridden as a flying mount, applies electric damage to the player's attacks while mounted. I'm curious if that means if I shoot someone with my rifle while riding Beacon, I can cause a stun. Guys, if you know if that is a thing or not, can you let me know in the comments? I think that would really help me out a lot, because if so, that would only make electric types that much more powerful in PvP. But I'm not sure. Let me know, guys. I also think Grisbolt would have a chance of being strong. However, only being just an electric type, in my opinion, would have put him below Orsurk, Beacon, and Relaxaurus Lux. And why I think Beacon would be higher than him, just because Beacon's a flying type. However, you can still mount Grisbolt, and that minigun can kinda smack, but at the same time, he's slow, and he doesn't move a lot whenever he uses his attacks. But I could be wrong. Obviously, this is all speculation. And the second element that I think is going to be incredibly utilized and exploited is going to be the fire types. Here's a list that I found to be incredibly accurate. I didn't see Yormantide Ignis on here, and he's certainly a pal that I think is going to be very effective. However, he might be at a slight disadvantage in comparison to most of these fire types, just because he is so massive. Yormantide Ignis's weakness is certainly his size. His abilities are very strong. He offers an incredible attack stat. However, he is so hard to hit and so hard to dodge and maneuver from. It's clearly his biggest weak point. He's certainly one of the biggest pals in the game, and that's why I wouldn't necessarily put him in the S tier with who we're going to be talking about next. Blazimuth is easily the strongest fire type in the game, assuming we're talking about fighting. Of course, he's an incredible worker to have at your base, but if you're not running Blazimuth in PvP, what are you doing with your life? He offers the strongest fire type moves. He's really not that big in comparison to most of the pals in this game. He's really not that big in comparison to most of the bigger pals in the game. He's rideable, so you get to reset his abilities. He's rideable, so you get your rideable reset abilities. And again, to preface, just like the electric types, they offer an incredible status effect that you should be using, which is the burn status effect. That chip damage that fire types offer is so strong and so potent. It would add on just one more thing that your opponent needs to be thinking about. And the stronger your fire type, the easier it is for that status to take effect. And trust me, that chip damage adds up. It is absolutely insane. Now, like I said, this tier list is pretty accurate in my opinion. One pal that I think is incredibly underrated is Wixen. What's awesome about Wixen is he's really small and doesn't necessarily have that low of defense. It's easier for him to hit most pals because of how small he is, but he still packs a freaking punch. So if anything, guys, I'm probably going to be running Blazemut and Wixen how powerful I think fire is going to be when PvP arrives. So if you ever go up against me, just bring 3 Yormantides, regular Yormantides that is. That's all you're gonna have to need to beat me. And speaking of water types, I think this is a great time to transition into how to counter such incredible teams, assuming that this is what the meta's gonna be. It's gonna be very difficult to counter a strong fire type team if they have electric types alongside them. Because if you try to counter a fire heavy team with water types, then they're just going to pull out an Ore Cirque or a Beacon to just mess you up. That's why I think a team comp that is centered around electric types and fire types are going to be so catastrophically good. Again, this is all speculation, but who's to say they don't limit us to only having one kind of PAL on your team? For instance, one electric type, one ground type, one fire type, one grass type. Yeah, I think that would make balancing a lot easier. However, it certainly takes away a lot of freedom for us how we build our teams. So it's certainly going to be interesting how they balance and conduct the PvP meta. But it's something I'm super excited about, and I hope you guys are as well. That is it from me, guys. If you guys love Palworld content like I do, please drop a like and subscribe for future Palworld content. This game means so much to me, and I hope it means a lot to you, because there's a lot more to come. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. My name is Tan the Fireman. I'll see you on the next one.